My ex-boyfriend's family fawned over me at a party and just ignored his new girlfriend.
Ooh, you're winning.
I met my ex-boyfriend, let's call him Greg, through a long-term friend of mine, Heather. We have been friends for a few years, but only saw each other once or twice a year since we live in different countries. By the way, this comes from SaltyBox6384 on the r/OKstorytime subreddit. So, on one of my visits to her country, she invited me to her boyfriend's, Fred's, birthday party. I was excited to go and meet their friends, and I was also good friends with Fred at this point, so I just, all in all, happy to be included in the party. I was informed the day of that his brother Greg was also going to be there, and that we would probably hit it off pretty well. Fast forward to the party, and we clicked off instantly. We chatted the whole night and enjoyed each other's company. He was the only one there who really talked to me the whole night. I don't speak their language very well, so all communication with me and him had to be in English. The rest of the party sort of got carried away with their own conversations, and I didn't feel like reminding them to switch languages for my sake all the time. As the night went on, we found a deep connection with each other, and I ended up seeing him every night during my long trip.
Okay.
Every night. When it was time for me to go home, he came to see me and promised me that he was going to come visit me in my country a couple months later.
This is so sweet.
A little romance.
A little romance for the ages.
From that point on, we began our long-distance relationship. For the sake of this post, I'm going to leave out the highs and lows of the relationship since it could be a whole post on its own. But I will say that during our year we were together, most of the time, I was miserable. Our communication was not the best, and he was struggling a lot with his mental health that affected me negatively since I was the one he turned to. I listened and I tried to help him best I could, but my own mental health started to spiral out of control as well. And then one night, before Valentine's Day in 23, he called me to end it.
No.
I was so tired at that point that a part of me was relieved, but another part was pissed and hurt. He promised to send me all of the stuff I had left at his place, and we never spoke after that again. A few months after the breakup, I still hadn't received my things, so I reached out to my friend Heather so she could talk and ask around to figure out what was going on. She told me Greg had planned on sending my things, but decided against it because it was too expensive. At this point, I was a bit annoyed about the fact that he had promised but went back on it, but also that he had failed to let me know so I would have some peace of mind. My friend Heather, being the absolute wonder that she is, got Greg's mother to send some of my stuff that I really needed / wanted, and took the rest from Greg's house to store in her attic for when I would be visiting next time. She also let me know the reason Greg had given a reason for the breakup was that he didn't feel heard in our relationship, despite me basically being his therapist for almost all of our relationship. I don't think you're hearing yourself, dude.
Yeah, you should open your ears.
At this point, I was glad it was over and started working on myself. I started taking better care of myself, and I lost 20 kilos. Holy, that's like 42 pounds.
Damn.
45 pounds. I had gained a lot of weight during the relationship due to stress. I did a lot of self-reflection and overall healed over time. I also managed to get my school back on track and was now going to graduate the rest of my class, even though at one point I was a year behind. In February of 24, I got a call from Heather saying that Fred had proposed and that they were going to get married in September, and I was invited. Fred and Heather sent in a treat. Wedding. At this point, I had not seen her or Fred for over a year, and I was happy and excited for the event. The only downside was I was going to be seeing my ex at the wedding. But I decided I wasn't going to let that affect me since I had worked on myself and I was happy with the person that I had become. A few weeks later, I talked with Heather about me coming and what Greg thought of it. His response had been, well, if we both are single at the time, who knows? And at that point, I could not do anything but laugh since I thought he was being ridiculous to think after all this time, I would start something up again.
That is so funny. Like, OP's like, hey, can you just check, like, want to make sure I don't make my ex uncomfortable? And Greg's like, well, if I'm single, I guess I could make it work. And OP's like, that was not what I was suggesting.
Yeah. Fast forward to the rest of the wedding. I was packed and ready to go when Heather called me telling me that Greg was going to bring his new girlfriend to the wedding. I bet you $10 he didn't have a girlfriend until he figured this out. When I heard this news, I have never been more relieved in my life. Now I could finally go enjoy myself without him possibly trying to get close to me, and I was all over the moon by that. So the day of the wedding rolled around. Here we go. I took my time getting ready and made sure that I looked my absolute best, since I was not only going to see my ex-boyfriend for the first time in 1.5 years, but I was going to see his whole family at the event as well. It's time to work. I had my hair nicely curled in Hollywood style and wore a long baby pink gown and stripy pink heels that matched the dress perfectly. I looked and felt amazing and was ready to enjoy my day and have a good time. Before the ceremony, I saw my ex and his new girlfriend and went to say hello. I hugged him and asked him how he was, then went to introduce myself to his girlfriend, and then took my seat next to some people I already knew. We did not speak for the rest of the night. At the reception, where I was kind of got my petty revenge, even though I didn't ask for it, but my little petty heart was still very full because of this. Greg and Fred's whole extended family came to greet me one by one, saying how absolutely happy they were to see me. Their mother hugged me warmly and said how much she missed me. Ooh. Their father did the same and said it was just not the same since we broke up, and it was wonderful to hear my laughter once again.
They like you more.
They like you more. Too bad they don't have another son to give you. That sucks. Their aunt told me how amazing I looked and how I was positively glowing. Every single one of them gave me compliments and said how much they had missed me and that they had looked forward to the wedding so much more since they found out I was coming. Oh my gosh.
People love you.
While this was happening, my ex was also saying hello to his family, but failed to introduce his girlfriend to them. Mind you, none of them expect his parents had met her at this point. So she was left to fend for herself, and I really felt bad for her. The night went on, and after dinner, my ex, along with his girl, disappeared for most of the night. At one point, Heather came fuming, telling me that they had been outside the whole time while my family and friends were giving speeches, and when asked to come inside by the maid of honor, he had asked why and refused to come in. I bet you maybe the new girl. Or I think he was fussing.
She's jealous. I think they're all, new girl's jealous. He's probably upset that his family are, trying to talk to his old ex.
Yeah, someone's not being very secure.
Yeah.
Everyone's insecure here.
And Opie's just living her best life.
She's just glowing, dude. And you can glow if you come to our lives every weekday. When?
3 p.m. PST. Just tap.
Tap. OP is winning.
Yeah, OP, you're fine. Like, you've done nothing wrong. His family loves you. They hate the new girlfriend. They hate him, it seems like. So you're chilling, man. There's nothing else that you need to do.
Trade son for ex-girlfriend. They probably would take that easily. Meanwhile, I was having the time of my life sitting with Heather's work friends and 2 of her cousins, one of who tried to hit on me despite being a baby-faced 20-year-old while I am a full-grown 27-year-old woman, but fun nevertheless. I would do this if I was 20. Oh, heck yeah. What's up, baby mama? I got invited to some events. Dude, especially if Angie was like 27.
If Angie was 27 and you were a baby-faced 20-year-old, you'd be like,
and she was wearing
what's
pink.
that, baby?
I'd be like, hey, girl. Want to dance?
In this version, your voice hasn't dropped yet.
Come on. Come on. Wanna dance? I got invited to some events by the aunt, and I will attend if I have time. My ex's parents also asked if I was willing to be their tour guide since they were planning a trip to my country next summer, and I happily accepted. I danced and I drank champagne. I laughed, and I had talked with everyone I knew, made some new friends, and had a night and a hangover the next morning that I will not soon forget. I left knowing that I had been seen as a friend of the bride rather than the groom's brother's ex, and that nobody in the family had ill feelings towards me. All in all, my petty heart was happy, and the bride and the groom had a beautiful wedding that I had a great pleasure of being a part of.
We love
W-O-P.
W's.
That was
W's
good.
in the chat,
Heck
man.
yeah. You killed that girl. You slayed. But I think that's the end of that episode.